God to him. It is a revelation to him.
Sorry, so you're saying that no one before Muhammad knew that babies came from women and grew in their bellies?
How they were formed in the womb.
It doesn't give a very accurate description.
It doesn't give it.
Specific.
But when you go to this man, Nick Moore, on the YouTube, he's a leading scientist in Canada. When they call him to a debate, Nick Moore. Nick Moore.
More.
Yeah.
M-O-O-R-E.
M-O-O-R-E. When they call him to a conference, Muslim conference, they asked him to explain the embryology. And he explained. When he explained it, they brought out the Quran and showed me the glorious Quran, which is Surat al-Mu'minun, verse 14.
So if I can give a point, there was a quite a strong Dawah movement on YouTube, and they asked an embryologist, Scottish, he's a very nice guy, but I can't remember his name now, and they'd said there was a particular word about the formation of the baby, that the flesh and the bone happen in sequence, like one after the other, and then they said they gave their interpretation of it and said it happens in this order, and then no, they happen at the same time. And then they changed their interpretation and said, oh no, the word can mean this. And a lot of the scientific understanding from the Quran, I think, comes like that. It's like you read the Quran, you go, oh, the words say this, but you can always reinterpret them in some other way when someone comes along and says, oh, it happens like this.
The Quran is clear.
I'm not saying you're lying.
The Quran is clear. I'll give you a quotation from the glorious Quran. I'll give you a quotation from the glorious Quran, which you read by yourself. Where Allah was talking about the embryology, how the baby was formed in the womb. Before 120 days, there is no soul in the baby. Until 3 months, 120 days. So after that, the semen, the sperm that come from man, semen that come from man, God says, will turn into a clot of blood. The semen, the sperm, the semen that come from man, was changed into a clot of blood. Then from that clot of blood, it was changed to a lot of flesh.
Yeah,
that flesh.
Words like a leech-like thing.
Yeah, leech. Yeah. That leech was changed into the bone. And God said that bone was covered with flesh. Then He bring it out as another creation. In the Quran, was given to Muhammad 1,400 years ago, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was unlettered prophet.
Yeah, that's not miraculous information.
Sorry?
That's not miraculous information because, women have periods, so they give out blood. You know, the baby will grow in that thing, and it's like a leech, and that it feeds off the mother, and then obviously the baby is born with bones, so you wouldn't imagine that the baby wouldn't be.
What I'm trying to bring out for you, you see that Nick Moore,
it's like me saying,
the one I mentioned to you is not a Muslim, it's a Christian.
If Muhammad talked about protein chains being combined into the code that all your cells are replicated from, kind of thing, actually something specific, rather than being a very obvious description from a real-world observation of the world that he was born in. I mean, you would imagine that he would have met a baby.
Can you say this? Can you read this? 14.
Sorry?
Can you say that 14?
14, yes. Yeah.
What did they say?
Then we made the nutfa into a clot, a piece of thick coagulated blood. Then we made the clot into a little lump of flesh. Then we made out of that little lump of flesh bones. Then we clothed the bones with flesh, and then we brought it forth as another creation. So blessed be Allah, best of creators.
15?
Sorry, Scott.
15. Oh, sorry. 15 says?
After that, surely you will die.
That is guaranteed for everyone. He said, how you are created. He said,
that's not miraculous
so
information.
How do we come into this world? I want you to tell me.
Was it surprising to Muhammad that people died?
It's a surprise to Muhammad.
Yeah,
that people died.
Did people not know that everyone will die before Muhammad was told that by Allah to write it in the Quran?
People were passing away.
Yeah.
So,
but that's what I say. You can't say that's miraculous information.
This is another one. I said now. I explained to you.
It had been known for literally the whole time.
Which one?
It's the very first person that people die.
No. What I'm saying to you, if you go and look at the one I just gave you, Nick Moore.
Yeah.
He's a scientist, a Christian man. When he was invited to a conference, Muslim conference, when they asked him to explain, he explained. He said 1,400 years ago, no one will be able to know the information. He even recommended.
You should look up. I don't memorize a lot of this. It's not sort of my faith to defend. There is a surgeon that wrote a lot of writings that Muhammad was thought to have actually spoken to.
Muhammad spoke to him.
Yeah.
Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah.
Sallallahu alaihi wasallam spoke to who?
I read his writings.
No. That's false. That's false.
Physicians that had done embryological
at the time of
research.
the Prophet.
Yeah.
At the time of Muhammad. No. That's false. You're reading something false. It's not it. It's not false. No, it is false.
It's not false.
I want to say something again to you. That scientist is mentioned. Where is him today?
Sorry, where?
Where is him? The scientist you mentioned now.
Yeah.
The physician, which you mentioned now. Where is him now?
Where do you think he is?
The surgeon. Where is him now?
Sorry.
The surgeon. Where is him?
So I don't understand that word. Sorry, surgeon.
Is he still living?
Surgeon. Well, of course not. No.
He's still living.
No.
He's gone.
Well, if he lived 1,400 years ago, then.
So who took him?
Sorry?
Why did he die? Who took him away? Why did he die?
Well, he could have died of anything. I don't know.
God is the one that takes his soul. God is the one that creates his soul, and he will take it one day. He now say again in one of the verses of the Quran, Quran chapter 30, it's called Surah Al-Rum, verse 54. Allah says, when you are babies, you have no strength. Your mom, your dad was carrying you about. You have no strength. You can't reason on your own. You can't reason on your own then.
Yeah.
Do you believe that?
Sorry?
When you are babies, like this baby.
So, I was a baby once.
Yeah,
And I
and
couldn't lift up you. So that's not.
So
everyone would have known that.
Yeah.
That's not.
I'm now saying to you, God is proving to you that when you were a baby, you were carrying about. As time goes on, God gave you strength. That is when you started going to school.
Sure.
Thinking about what you want to do in the future.
Yeah.
Then, as time went on, God said that brain that is given to you, God can take it away from you. You will not remember anything again.
Okay.
I say he has got dementia.
So,
They can say he has got dementia. I cannot remember anything again. This is all God's doing.
break down.
Sorry?
Biological systems break down as you age.
It breaks down. Who breaks it down? It's supposed to remain the same.
No.
It's supposed to remain the same.
No, your glands stop producing the right level of hormones to regenerate your cells. You have almost built into you like in your DNA,
There are cells.
a number of copies that you can make, because if you continued replicating your cells to produce more forever.
Who created their cells?
Sorry?
Who created their cells? The cells you mentioned, who created
My
it?
cells?
Yeah, everyone. Who created it?
Well, they came from their parents.
From parent. From their parent, who created the parents once?
But I don't believe they were created in the sense.
We don't know.
that
This is what we're saying there is God. God created the whole thing.
Okay, it's as easy to say that,
Yeah.
but it's not as easy to demonstrate, is it?
How?
How would you demonstrate that God created all of this?
The part of it is
You would have to ask him to suddenly take it all away
to do
and then
what?
bring it back.
To do what?
If God created all of this,
Yeah.
you would have to ask, in order to demonstrate that he did it, you would have to ask him to take it all away and then bring it back.
No, it cannot come back.
Yeah.
Once
I know.
once your life is taken, you're not coming back. The life is given to you. He said the life is given. He said the life is given,
Yeah.
and it will be taken from you one day.
Okay.
In Quran chapter 21, Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 34,
Yeah.
one of the verse of the Quran.
That's an explanation for something that we
Yeah.
obviously know happened.
God says,
Not
immortality have not been promised to anyone before you, Muhammad. We have never promised anyone that was going to live forever. If you die, would they live forever? Every soul shall taste death. Every soul will taste death. So we came from somewhere. We were created by supreme being. When you look at the Quran, the Quran that is given to Muhammad 1,400 years ago, it remains unchanged. No one can change it. It's programmed. It's memorized by millions of Muslims. Memorized.
Yeah.
It cannot be changed.
Yeah, I can accept that
So
fact.
that enough is miracle.
Sorry?
That enough, that should be a miracle to you. The Quran will be recited by heart.
So dying off?
The Quran will be recited. The Quran will be recited by heart. No one, they won't. What I'm saying, memorize.
Yeah.
The Muslim memorize the Quran.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Millions. So how did
That's
they?
100 million, apparently heard.
Yeah. So how did they come about? For them to memorize the Quran letter by letter, word by word.
It was taught by Muhammad.
It was taught by Muhammad.
To memorize the Quran.
How about the Bible? Why they cannot memorize the Bible?
They could do, but
They can't.
People memorize large sections of it. I don't, and I'm sure there are people that...
I know the Bible more than the Christians themselves.
Sorry?
I know the Bible more than the Christians themselves.
It wasn't a practice.
Sorry?
It wasn't a practice of the Christians to memorize the Bible.
It cannot be.
No.
It cannot be. You know why it cannot be? Because the Bible was nothing concerned Jesus with the Bible. Jesus knew nothing about Bible. It was created after him. Bible was created after Jesus. 325 years after Jesus, the Bible was created. So Jesus knew not.
Write it. Yeah, it was written by, supposed by his prophets.
There are people that came after that.
Disciples.
Yeah. Why now the Quran now testify to what was given to Moses, Jesus, and the rest of the prophet? The Quran came testify to what was given to them.
Those things already existed in Muhammad's time. He spoke to a lot of religious people, and so he'd have heard their stories and said this is how it was.
Where's your proof for that? Where's your proof for that? There is no proof. What God says to him in the glorious Quran. God says in the glorious Quran. It's called Quran chapter 29.
Yeah. So are you saying Muhammad never spoke to anyone who had any religious beliefs at all throughout his
the
whole
revelation
life?
was brought to him by Gabriel.
No, I'm not saying that they told him the Quran.
No one. Gabriel taught him.
Stop. Let me speak for a moment. Just hear me. I'm not your enemy. Well, not in any metaphorical sense.
Okay.
But so Muhammad obviously was a man, right?
Was a man.
He lived a life and he talked to lots of people.
Yeah.
He lived in was brought up in communities that had other beliefs about gods. There were Jews, there were early Christians, there were pagan religions. Yeah?
No, it was living with the pagans.
Sorry?
It was living with the idol worshippers. In Mecca, mainly they were idol worshippers in Mecca. When he moved to Medina, that was where he met Jews and the Christians. He was already in Mecca for 13 years, receiving the revelation for 13 years. Before he moved to Medina, and he spent 10 years there before he passed away. So even the Jews at his time, they were accepting Islam from him. Because every question they brought to him, he was giving them answers.
Some of them found it convincing and some of them didn't. And some of those found his message convincing and some of them didn't.
No, those are the ones who followed their desires. The people follow their desire because we read in the Bible. I got the Bible here.
You follow your desires?
No, I don't. I've got the Bible here. That Bible is a guidance, is a watcher over the book that was given to the past prophet, which about one God, not two, not three, one God, created all things.
Yeah.
It's there. It's in the Bible. And when Muhammad came, peace be upon him, he testified to the same thing. This is why we say we human beings, we are one.
We're not anywhere near the same page. It's like you think of me in a different way.
So who created you then? You say your mom. Who created your mom?
Well, I would accept some degree of evolution that we.
Sorry?
I would accept evolution and that we came from a process.
Okay, that evolution. Yeah. Who was there? Who recorded it? When it was Big Bang, who recorded it?
Well, it's recorded in the cosmic background radiation observable by telescopes that you can see the effects of that event.
They recorded it.
Sorry? Well, I didn't record it in a book, but it's recorded as on the effect of that on the universe.
Nothing can come into the system without being created.
Sorry?
Nothing can come into the sixth state without being created. And Allah says in the Quran.
Can you explore that a little bit more?
Allah, nothing.
No. This,
okay.
So you say something was created.
Yes.
But it was created from nothing.
Yeah, I said
It did not exist at some point.
nothing will come into the system.
Yeah.
Nothing will come into the system without being created.
But there is some way for something to come into existence.
Like what?
If you let me finish the sentence, you'll understand what I'm saying. If something can come into, there is some way that something can come into existence that didn't exist. You're saying there is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that would be the only way that something can come into existence that didn't once exist is
By created. By God.
by God.
Yeah.
What does that? What form does that take? How does that happen?
God let us know in the Quran, Quran chapter 21, verse 30. Quran chapter 21, verse 30. He said, the unbeliever, are they not carefully think about it that the heart and the heaven, both of them were joined together. Both heaven and the heart were joined together before God separated them.
So they existed before.
Yeah. He said that God said that in the Quran.
No, that means they both existed.
Yeah. Both the
There
heaven
was
and the heart
earth, and then
was
they were
created by God.
separated.
Was created by God,
Yeah.
and they were separated by God before we came into the system. This is what I'm saying, that your mother and your father, you say he created you. Yeah. Where do they come from? Your parents, where do they come from? Your parents, where do they come from?
In the same world that I grew up in.
Yeah, who created them?
They came about like that by magic.
By magic? They came by magic?
No, I'm being like satirical. Like you're saying, well, how did they get here? Well, you know how they got here. It's like my parents had parents.
But
and they grew up.
Yeah.
And they met and they had me.
Bob, do you mind if I make a point too?
Yeah.
Do you know? Do you mind? I'm just.
It's the language you're using.
Do you know what it is? But there's an easier way to there's an easier way to explain.
Do
you know when somebody, because it seems,
why is there anything wrong?
Yeah, but before your question, I heard the brother ask you who created you, and you obviously must have said your mother.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
I came. Yeah.
Do you believe that your mother created you?
In a sense, I don't know if you're getting at a different point.
No, because I want to make.
I grew inside my mother.
Yeah, but what I'm gonna do you know what it is? Sometimes as Muslims, when we ask people who created them, I've often heard some people say their mothers created them.
That's right.
But that's not the case, because you must admit.
I'm created of like hamburgers and like I eat stuff.
Yeah.
And my body replicates cells.
Yeah.
So I'm created.
No, but let me make something a bit easier for you.
Code.
Let's make something easier for you, because it's obvious here. What we're alluding to is that we as Muslims believe that Allah created us and He created everything here. But I just want to make a point to you.
When you say that Allah created, you mean He set up the initial.
No, but we'll deal with that. But I just want to make the point. Yeah, I just want to make the point that your mother never created you. Yeah, because I've heard quite a few people say that. If you don't mind, I just want to make a point. How tall are you? No, I'm gonna make a point. 6'2", yeah. Did your parents decide when they cohabited that they were gonna have a child and you was gonna be 6'2"? Did they make that decision?
That decision was made by all sorts of other things.
Right, so 1 second, right, bro. So let me make a point to you. Supposing, all right, let's look at a comparison here that's a bit realistic.
How much I ate.
No, but I'm going to make a comparison. I just want to make a point. We're going to move on to the other point that you made here about God creating everything. But I just want to make a point that your parents did not create you. Let's look at an analogy, yeah? Now, can I just...
They didn't create me in the
but
way
that's what
that
I'm saying.
In the way that you understand the word creation.
Yeah, because you was a vessel. Your parents was a vessel which allowed you to be created. But your parents never created you.
No, so where did I come from with the answer of my parents? Right?
Yeah, but
wait.
Yeah, go on, of course.
My parents did not create me.
That's correct. Now you admit that.
Elements from the
That's
world
right.
around me
They
to put them
didn't.
Together.
That's right.
They were responsible for me being here.
Yeah, they
their
were.
actions,
That's right.
Their
This
actions were combined, by the way.
Yeah, the action, because we believe, my friend. What's your name, by the way?
Joseph.
Joseph. My name's Ibrahim. Nice to meet you, Joseph. Yeah. Sorry, I'm fine shaking hands. Don't worry about that. See, Joseph, what we believe as Muslims, yeah, the fact that Allah created is from His wisdom, because Allah is called Al-Hakim, is from His wisdom. So, how Allah allowed a human being to come about is through parents cohabiting, yeah, the action taking place, and a child is conceived. This is by Allah's will. Allah is the one that's caused this to happen.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
When you just say that Allah created me, I don't observe that being being any part of my formation.
But can I ask you, Joseph? If I ask you, do you believe in God?
I don't know.
It says an atheist.
I have
that's what I
no
said.
idea what you mean when you say God. So
I showed me in the glorious Quran that Allah said 1,400 years ago to the Prophet that he was formed in the womb 4 stages.
That's right.
From semen, I show it to him. I said, even Nick Moore, the leading scientist.
You would know that
Okay.
information. Like, you would know that women have periods. Right?
Yeah, but that's from God. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
That's how God allowed it to happen, Joseph. This is how we.
But it's not miraculous information for somebody to record.
What do you mean? I don't understand. What do you mean it's not miraculous?
Right, so are you saying, like, if it demonstrates that the Quran is true,
Yeah.
that it says these things about
About the creation.
where babies come from?
Yeah.
And it's like nothing in there isn't completely obvious. Right, you know
Yeah.
that.
You're not from that blood.
Let him finish. Let him finish his
Women
point.
have periods and they bleed.
Women, yes,
right?
that's correct.
And when they get pregnant, they
Yes.
stop bleeding. So
Yes.
you'd imagine, the blood's in there. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's correct.
So the baby is feeding off the mother.
Yes.
And then, when the baby comes out, it
Yes.
has flesh and bones. And
Yes.
So at some point, those flesh and bones had to come from somewhere.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Because
Nine
this
months.
is.
But that's
yeah.
not like, oh wow, like
Would you-
the Quran
but
says
I'm
something
not.
amazing.
I'm not dealing.
That was the sense
okay.
in which I
all right,
was
we're not
explained
dealing
it,
with
like,
the how
to say
yeah.
the proof
We
of the
believe,
Quran.
yeah.
It's like,
This is how.
it's like
this
saying
is
something
this
very
is
obvious.
Yeah,
Do you understand my
whether you say it's
Yeah.
okay, Joseph. Whether you say it's obvious or not, yeah. This is how Allah has caused human beings to come about. Because let me, you understand? This is how
I understand.
whether someone believes it's miraculous or not, yeah. This is how Allah, in His wisdom, allowed the process of a child to come about. Because Allah says in the Quran, yeah, if He wants something to happen,
Yeah.
He says be and it is.
He said, be.
So if He wanted to, He could just create human beings. He said kun fayakun. You understand? Yeah. So that's what Allah says. Kun fayakun. He said be and it is. But He chose to cause human beings to be born in this way. But you know what I want to deal with? What I want to deal with, right, Joseph, is the core issue here, yeah? That are you saying you're not sure whether you believe in God exists or God doesn't exist to you? But this is what we should
like
get.
when you say, "Do I believe in God?"
Yes.
You obviously have some idea of what you think God is.
Of course.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And so if I say yes, I do believe in God, then I'm answering you, and I'm saying I don't.